Hey guys, Ryan and Greg here. We are back talking American Horror Stories. It's of course that AHS spinoff show that will have 16 standalone 1-hour episodes that are related to the regular show of American Horror Story.
If you look in the face of evil, evil's gonna look right back at you.
Now, we did part 1 of this conversation previously. Make sure you check that out on our channel right now. Today, we're going to share the rest of our theories on what we want to see in the spinoff show.
So make sure you're subscribed to the channel for all your American Horror Story needs. Now let's jump into this. Spoilers ahead.
Let's start off today with one of the most fascinating storylines of Roanoke, Scathach. Scathach? Scathach.
Wait, which one? Which one are we talking about here? Asylum or Roanoke?
Greg, the Gaga one.
Ah, of course. Okay.
The immortal witch who's basically the OG Supreme. Her storyline of how she came to the New World, to the Americas, after being wrongly accused of being a witch, but then turns out to be a witch to use the call upon the ancient gods and basically massacre all these people who were about to burn her at the stake. Some crazy stuff here. I thought it'd be a really fun storyline to see kind of the voyage across America, a very dark and sinister and horrifying look at kind of how she was treated and how her revenge tour of sorts, and how she wiped out all these people that were kind of doing her wrong.
That would be a big get, but maybe again, if you're gonna start off your new show, your brand new series, getting Lady Gaga to make an appearance would pretty much kick it off. In fact, that would probably be the first episode they should show. But we'll see if they pull that off. I wouldn't be shocked at all if they did it, if they can get Lady Gaga in here. But bringing her back as the witch, even though that witch, remember, it's a character in character for the Roanoke storyline. It's not the actual witch in American Horror Story canon. So they're going to have to, be creative there with that. But I can see this return with Lady Gaga somehow. Maybe it's just behind the scenes of the Roanoke series, just like they did a little tease of that where they had, Evan Peters' character and Sarah Paulson's character. Remember when Rory and Andre broke character? Maybe it's something like that. They explore that part of Roanoke a little bit more with Lady Gaga's character. Maybe.
Yeah, and I even like the idea of if we want to use this story as a jumping off point, as she's the OG Supreme. What are the other witches? What's the makeup of that kind of coven? Like the early beginnings of the coven. In Coven we saw some of that, the backstory, but seeing a period piece set in, with all these new settlers into America, it's a really good, rich kind of landscape for a story like this, a horrifying tale, and how kind of the witches were treated, and the uprising and basically saving their lives and getting a little bit of revenge on the people that did them wrong.
I think it's a safe bet to assume that, maybe the most popular series, the most popular run for American Horror Story, which is Coven, it's going to bring up witches some way, somehow. I'm just going to take that out. I'm just going to say that, I have a feeling we're going to hear the word witch spoken by someone a few times in this new series.
Billie Dean Howard, Greg, I know we talked about Sarah Paulson in the last video. You made an argument for Sally McKenna, which I stand by, but Billie Dean Howard seems like a character that is ripe for a lot of really good, fun stories centered around spirits. Obviously coming in contact with a lot of entities throughout the years. She had a TV show, a ghost hunter style TV show where she's talking, she's a medium, of course, and she's talking to all these spirits, helping out people that need some closure on their life. Or finding some not so nice spirits as well and coming in contact with them. Now, you mentioned obviously she can't return to Hotel Cortez because they scared the living hell out of her. But there could be some fun stories in other aspects. We see her pop up in Apocalypse at the murder house. She could pop up in different locations in the AHS universe for a cameo here or there.
Camp Redwood.
Camp Redwood. There you go. Show a little. She kind of checks in on some of the characters that we know and love.
At the same time, I guess it's easier, honestly, because makeup wise, that would be it's not too long of a run compared to the other characters, where she would probably spend more hours in the makeup chair than she would want to possibly. So maybe that's the role here for Billie Dean. They can it's a lot simpler, I guess, if it's just her with the doing her own show in studio, and then it cuts to her at different locations throughout American Horror Story. Again, that's a easy win. If we're talking about just like spitballing ideas of where they go, I can see it. I just don't know if they're going to go with Billie Dean Howard either. I feel like, again, this will be Sally McKenna if they bring someone back. Next, Jamie Brewer may not be one of the headliners of American Horror Story, but she's still an absolute gem and a key to the series. And we would love to see more of Nan here. She was great as with her clairvoyant powers in Coven, and boy oh boy was she done dirty at the end of that season. So I would love to see her return here from hell. Again, you can help out. We talked about Behold in Madison in our last video, where we hope they get a spinoff or at least a series episode, and maybe she's also involved in this. She's the middle person for bringing people and souls and demons back to hell, helping out Behold in Madison with Papa Legba somehow. I don't care. Write it down now and just ship off that episode. I want to see it. I just want Jamie Brewer back, to be honest.
I'm with you, Greg. Yeah, she was such a great... I mean, she's always been great in all these roles that she does when she shows up in different seasons. Yeah. But Nan was really, really good and a special part of the season. And like you said, just poor Nan, what they did to her. Fiona Good, wow, horrible person.
Cordelia, long time no see, bitch.
Now, we did see Nan pop up in Apocalypse, but we don't really know what is going on with her besides that she enjoys working alongside Papa Legba. And I think technically she's not in hell, but she's kind of like in between the worlds, right? And she's like helping out Legba and like doing whatever he wants to do, bringing people to and from hell, like kind of just checking in on people. So, apparently she's enjoying her time so much with him that she doesn't even want to return to the Coven. So we need to know what the hell has she been doing that's so damn fun.
Yeah, give Nan her own episode. Don't let her be a side character in someone else's, especially the next person we're going to bring up here. I hope that Nan gets her own episode. I want a Jamie Brewer hour-long performance here. I would love to see her run wild in one episode as Nan.
Now, speaking of Coven, Greg, how about Marie Laveau? Marie Laveau definitely needs her own spinoff episode.
Yes, and her own series, honestly. But if we're going to just start things off, again, if you want to just test the waters and see how this will work with the audience, of course, bringing back Angela Bassett if she has the time. I know she's directing episodes. She's doing stuff for 911 right now. She's one of the leads. So I don't know if she'll have time, but if they can somehow make this work, I'm sure she's going to want to be on this 100%. And we already know that, too, from a few tweets out there.
Yeah, she saw some fan art that she retweeted, and it looks like she's all in on reprising the role of Marie Laveau. And there's so much to work with here. How Marie Laveau came to power, how the voodoo origins started with her, what's going on in the future. Now we know from Apocalypse that she was brought back from hell, but then that timeline's reset. So there's so much to kind of to deal with here. But Coven was so focused on the witches and the voodoo. All the voodoo was kind of on the periphery. But now focusing and shifting that focus onto Marie Laveau and her family, her followers, her friends, all that kind of stuff seems like a no-brainer.
Absolutely. And what the thing is with this, I actually want this show, if it's Marie Laveau's show, I want it to be a little disattached from the rest of the American Horror Story franchise, honestly. If they did this, I think the tone would need to be a little different. So maybe they can, again, test this out in stories and go from there. Because if they're going to do it, I would hope that the meta and the campiness goes away for something like this. But it's got to happen. If Angela Bassett is down, please, this is a slam dunk here for everyone involved.
And what about her counterpart, Delphine Lalaurie?
That again, she could be the big bad for the first season of Marie Laveau's show, but not in stories, because that's a lot going on, and we already know everything about Delphine Lalaurie from everything we got from Coven. So trying to catch up with Delphine Lalaurie now, what she went to the Capitol, right? I'm pretty sure she was there, but other than that, I don't think we need to go back to that character anytime soon. Not right now at this moment, but it could happen. I'm not saying no.
Sealed up in your unmarked grave for all eternity, listening to the world go on around you, even until that world is no more.
I would love to see it, because Kathy Bates, I'll watch anything she's in. I'll watch her just talk about like a yogurt commercial, just reading lines from a yogurt commercial for an hour and a half. But I think this one's going to be just Angela Bassett.
Now, Greg, speaking of Marie Laveau, we got a little taste of zombies during the season of Coven when she brought those zombies to life to attack the Coven. But AHS hasn't really dove into a full zombies storyline besides that. So I think that the spinoff is a perfect opportunity for them to kind of really get into a zombie story.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense why they didn't go into zombies, obviously, because of the saturation. There's so much going on at that time period with zombies and Walking Dead kicking off and all the movies. So I understand why they decided not to touch it. But now it seems like an okay time, even though now we're just getting like Walking Dead is not going anywhere. They just branched it off into 5 different shows and movies. So maybe Ryan Murphy's still looking at that calendar and looking at everything on zombies and going, no, but 60 Minutes. Zombie Kyle? Probably not. If you're going to bring back Evan Peters, I'm pretty sure you're not going to pitch to him, okay, so we're not going to do James March or anything like that. Let's do Zombie Kyle. Let's give a whole episode to Zombie. I don't think he's going to want to do that. So, no. if anything, I think zombies will return, but not through any way that we know of in the past. So it won't be anything that's linked to Coven. I think this is going to be a brand new slate, and I would love to see American Horror Story's take on zombies.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think think of The Walking Dead or an homage to like Dawn of the Dead or like 28 Days Later, but I think with a lot more camp and just have some fun with it and centered around some apocalyptic event or something like that, or some just one thing I would ask is no deadly viruses, no pandemics, none of that kind of stuff. It's way too soon for that.
Yeah, no, they don't have to go that route, but they could still do something where a scientist screws up, played by like John Stamos. He's trying to, it's like a regenerator. He's trying to do his own thing here, make his own like Frankenstein's monster, and it just goes horribly, horribly wrong. I would love to see something like that. Next up, American Horror Story doesn't tackle a whole lot of science fiction, but we'd love to see a Black Mirror-inspired episode here.
Then it would be called, American Sci-Fi Story, which I guess we could spin off as well.
You keep the horror, you keep some of the sci-fi campy elements that we saw in Apocalypse and Asylum, but just wrap it around some artificial intelligence that's going awry. You get your own Hal here. I would love to see some kind of scientist, not Jeff and Mutt, but some kind of scientist making an artificial intelligence, again, that goes awry, and they have to shut it down quickly or they're just going to destroy everything.
AHS hasn't really dove into sci-fi as much as other shows have, like Black Mirror, which you and I love. And I think there's so many great horror elements already ingrained in sci-fi and what could go wrong as technology advances and kind of gets smarter and stronger than the human race or any of these other entities of witches and spirits. So how could artificial intelligence and technology intersect with the horror story? I think it would be a great hour of television. And like you said, don't dedicate an entire season of a show to this, but at least give us a standalone episode where it's like, oh my God, like it can get really, really dark and sinister if it gets out of control.
Ryan, I want something like Black Mirror meets Final Destination. There you go. Something like that would be crazy.
Now, when we think about apocalyptic stories and the season of Apocalypse in particular, we know that Mallory might have killed Michael Langdon, right? But the devil is probably not done with his work on Earth. Of course, at the end of that season, we see that there is another Antichrist, and it's probably just an ongoing cycle, Greg, of just good versus evil, that it feels like no matter what, the forces of good will never be able to stop the next Antichrist from coming. So it makes me think that there might be a spin-off episode surrounding Satan and kind of the end of times at some point, right?
Yeah, I can see that too. I don't know if they'll bring back Emily and Timothy. It would make sense to bring them back and just go off on Antichrist 2.0 for the new series.
You don't want to see that little kid grow up?
I'm all right. That's okay. But I can see them going that route where they do another Antichrist episode somehow, some way. I just think it's a little too early. We just got it in Apocalypse, so yeah, we'll see.
Well, remember, we have seen the devil in Asylum, obviously, the exorcism, and then kind of the, Satan moving from, I think it was Jed over to Sister Mary Eunice and kind of just terrorizing people across the whole season of that show. So we know that, like, there are enough stories to use this as a device in an episode of the spinoff.
Maybe an episode dealing with something close to what we saw in Asylum with another exorcism. I can see something like that too. On the topic of Satan, what about little Jenny Reynolds from Asylum? Remember her? She might still be out there somewhere killing people, for all we know. With that said, I would love to see them bring back the actress and see where they go from there. And she's older, and we can just take this story to another level, or have it be something else entirely different. Maybe it's a twist on the Jenny Reynolds character. Maybe she's like just a teacher somewhere in like.
Oh God!
Yeah, she's just a school teacher somewhere in like the Midwest. I don't know. It could be anything. Like just subvert our expectations here just a little bit, and so you can have this whole storyline going on with the actor portraying this completely different character, and then we find out at the end, oh, she's Jenny Reynolds, something like that. I would love a little twist in one of these episodes.
Who are you?
I'm Jenny.
Yeah, Greg, she's a substitute teacher, serial killer.
Yes.
Jumping from community to community, different school districts, and slowly, just quietly.
Hey, she's not, but she's killing the parents that are are up to no good, like a Dexter situation.
Yes.
So she's going from school to school, taking care of these teachers who are sleeping with the students. There you go.
She's saving the kids.
Yes.
She's saving the innocent kids.
Yes. There we go. She's saving the kids from the pervy other teachers, gym coach, anything you could think of. She's stopping that from happening. She's the Dexter of the series now. There you go. That's
and all of her victims, she definitely collects their hair and holds on to her hair.
That's a little too much. No. Let's not go that far.
Well, I mean, if we're sticking with this, Greg, Dexter did keep the blood,
yes,
right?
He did.
Didn't he keep the blood of all of his victims?
It wasn't too smart.
So maybe Jenny Reynolds wants the hair.
Okay.
And then, Greg, the episode, of course, ends with the grown-up Jenny Reynolds going to Hotel Cortez and joining all the serial killers at Devil's Night.
Ah, okay. Oh, that's very expansive. I like it. Let's do that. Finally, another bonus here. We already did 1984, which was a heavy slasher-inspired season. What if we came back to that with another, teen slasher-inspired season where it's more geared towards like the faculty? Maybe it's something involving like a dorm room or a facility where now these kids, just like in like Breakfast Club, meets the faculty, where they're just stuck in this one location and they have to fight for their lives out of this thing. I would love to see something like that.
Yeah, I agree with you, Greg, because obviously we enjoyed 1984, but with a lot of these seasons of AHS, they kind of drag on a little too much. There's like too much to fill in like the 10, 12, 13 episodes structure. So having a slasher, either a summer camp, a school setting, just make it a slasher and just make it like a lot of fun in the setting with teenagers, college students, whatever it may be. In one episode, it makes it a little bit easier, I think, to tell a short little story, especially if you're in one location like you suggest. Instead of drawing it out and kind of making all these, at the end of 1984, kind of dragged a little bit too much. So this makes perfect sense for a 1 hour episode of TV.
Obviously, you got to be careful because you don't want it to be I don't want it to be anywhere near something like a school shooting or something like that vibe. No, so you got to be careful how you obviously structure this. So, but again, that's why I'm thinking more towards faculty. If they can get it geared towards that, where it's a supernatural element, something fantastical happens to the school and the kids got to rally together and get out of it, I would love to see something like that. Also, this would be a great opportunity to put in new, fresh faces on the American Horror Story, canon. Let's give us some new characters here that can branch off to other mainline episodes for the series in the future.
Make sure you watch part 1 of this series so that you can hear all of our theories on the upcoming AHS spinoff show. And if we missed any good ones, please hit us up in the comments and let us know your favorites.
Be sure to like and subscribe for more AHS content, and thank you so much for watching. We'll be back here very soon.